welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and this is our third week of staff picks, their favorite reads, books they read in 2025, so we're finishing up today. Jill, what's your first one?
My first one comes from Tracy. This is Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. Inti Flynn lives in Scotland with her twin sister Aggie to lead a team of biologists tasked with reintroducing 14 gray wolves into the remote highlands. She hopes to heal not only the dying landscape, but Aggie too, unmade by the terrible secrets that drove the sisters out of Alaska. Inti is not the woman she once was, either, changed by the harm she's witnessed, inflicted by humans on both the wild and each other. Yet as the wolves surprise everyone by thriving, Inti begins to let her guard down, even opening herself to the possibility of love. But when a farmer is found dead, Inti knows where the town lay blame. Unable to accept her wolves could be responsible, Inti makes a reckless decision to protect them. But if the wolves didn't make the kill, then who did? And what will Inti do when the man she is falling for seems to be the prime suspect? Propulsive and spellbinding, this Once There Were Wolves is an unforgettable story about a woman desperate to save the creatures she loves if she isn't consumed by a wild that was once her refuge. So, and the wolves, I read this and it was really great. If you want to spend
that on my to be read,
if you want to spend some time in the woods with some wolves, it's kind of fun.
My first pick is one of my picks, and this was a book that the library staff was kind of divided on. Some of us loved this book, some of us did not love this book, but I was on the I love this book side. So this is All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. This was published in 2024. 1975 is a time of change in America. The Vietnam War is ending, Muhammad Ali is fighting Joe Frazier, and in the small town of Montclair, Missouri, the girls are disappearing. When the daughter of a wealthy family is targeted, the most unlikely hero emerges. Patch, a local boy who saves the girl and in doing so leaves heartache in his wake. Patch and those who love him soon discover that the line between triumph and tragedy has never been finer, and that their search for answers will lead them to truths that could mean losing one another. A missing person mystery, a serial killer thriller, a love story, a unique twist on each. Chris Whitaker has written a novel about what lurks in the shadows of obsession and the binding light of hope. I have friends that did not finish this book, and I love this book.
I enjoyed it.
All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker.
And you should tell us, if you do read it, what you think of it. My next one comes from Anne, who's our children's librarian. This is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is a classic published in 1950 by C.S. Lewis. They open a door and enter a world, Narnia, the land beyond the wardrobe, the secret country known only to Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy, the place where adventure begins. Lucy is the first to find the secret of the wardrobe in the professor's mysterious old house. At first, no one believes her when she tells the adventures of the land of Narnia, but soon Edmund and then Peter and then Susan discover the magic and meet Aslan, the great lion, for themselves. In the blink of an eye, their lives are changed forever. So, I think this is a good winter read because, wow, it's all snowy outside. You can read about Narnia where it's all snowy there too, but it's fun.
I just reread that one this winter just because, isn't it the 75th anniversary of that book?
Yes,
I think.
It is.
So I thought, well, I'll reread that one. So my second pick comes from Cassie, our billing coordinator, and this book is published in 2025, and this is Silver Elite by Danny Francis. Psychic gifts are a death sentence, and there are rules to survival. Trust no one, lie to everyone, and whatever you do, don't fall for your greatest enemy. Trust no one. Wren Darlington has spent her whole life in hiding, honing her psychic abilities and aiding the rebel uprising in just little ways. On the continent, being modified means certain death, and Wren is one of the most powerful mods in existence. When one careless mistake places her in the hands of the enemy, and she's forced to join Silverblock, their most elite training program, she's finally handed the perfect opportunity to strike a devastating blow from inside their ranks. Lie to everyone. But training for Silverblock can be deadly, especially when you're harboring dangerous secrets and living in close quarters with everyone who wants you dead. And whatever you do, don't fall for your greatest enemy. As the stakes grow ever higher, Wren must continually prove herself. But that's easier said than done when your commanding officer is the ruthless and infuriatingly irresistible Cross Redden, who doesn't miss anything when it comes to her. And as the war rages between mods like her and those who aim to destroy them, Ren must decide just how far she's willing to go to protect herself and how much of the continent is worth saving.
Mm.
Trust no one, lie to everyone, and whatever you do, don't fall for your greatest enemy. Silver Elite by Danny Francis.
This one's also by Cassie. I think Cassie is one of our librarians who reads like 100 books a year, so she's got a lot of good ones. This is John Grisham's The Guardians, published in 2019. In a small North Florida town of Seabrook, a young lawyer named Keith Russo was shot dead at his desk as he worked late one night. The killer left no clues behind. There were no witnesses, no real suspects, no one with a motive, but the police soon settled on Quincy Miller, a young black man who was once a client of Russo's. Quincy was framed, convicted, and sent to prison for life. For 22 years, he languished in prison with no lawyer, no advocate on the side, and he wrote a letter to Guardian Ministries, a small innocence group founded by a lawyer minister named Cullen Post. Guardian handles only a few innocence cases at a time, and the Post is its only investigator. He travels to the South fighting wrongful convictions and taking cases no one will touch. With Quincy Miller, though, he wants far more than he did bargain for. Powerful, ruthless people murdered Keith Russo, and they do not want Quincy exonerated. They killed one lawyer 22 years ago, and they will kill another one without a second thought. So, lawyers getting murdered. I think that is definitely a set of people that would enjoy this one.
I used to read a lot of John Grisham, but I kind of stepped away from him. The third pick is a book quite a few of the library staff read. I have not yet, also on my to be read. This pick comes from our adult services librarian, Tracy. She liked The Wedding People by Allison S. Bach. This was published in 2024. It's a beautiful day in Newport, Rhode Island, when Phoebe Stone arrives at the Grand Cornwall Inn, wearing a green dress and gold heels, not a bag in sight, and she's alone. She's immediately mistaken by everyone in the lobby for one of the wedding people, but she's actually the only guest at the Cornwall who isn't there for the big event. Phoebe's here because she's dreamed of coming here for years. She hoped to shuck oysters and take sunset sails with her husband, only now she's here without him, at rock bottom and determined to have one last decadent splurge on herself. Meanwhile, the bride has accounted for every detail and every possible disaster the weekend might yield, except for, well, Phoebe and Phoebe's plan, which makes it that much more surprising when the two women can't stop confiding in each other. It's absurdly funny and devastatingly tender. It's ultimately an incredibly nuanced and resonant look at the winding paths we take to places we never imagined and the chance encounters it sometimes takes to reroute us. The Wedding People.
I read that one. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was super fun. Like being at this wedding and not really being part of it. It's kind of funny. So this was one of my choices, although Tracy did read it as well. I don't know if she would call it one of her favorites. It might be her most anxiety-producing one. It's The Anxious Generation, How the Great Rewiring of Childhood Caused an Epidemic of Mental Illness by Jonathan Haidt. A must-read for all parents, the generation-defining investigation into the collapse of the youth mental health in the era of smartphones, social media, and big tech, a plan for a healthier, freer childhood. After more than a decade of stability of improvement, the mental health of adolescents plunged in the early 2010s. Rates of depression, anxiety, self-harm, and suicide rose sharply, more than doubling on many measures. Why? In The Anxious Generation, social psychologist Jonathan Haidt lays out facts about the epidemic of teen mental illness that hit many countries at the same time. He then investigates the nature of childhood, including why children need play and independent exploration to mature into competent, thriving adults. Haidt shows how the play-based childhood began to decline in the 1980s and how it is finally wiped out by the arrival of phone-based childhood in the early 2010s. He presents more than a dozen mechanisms by which the great rewiring of childhood has interfered with children's social and neurological development, covering everything from sleep deprivation to attention fragmentation, addiction, loneliness, social contagion, social comparison, and perfectionism.
Oh my.
He explains why it damages girls more than boys and why boys have been withdrawing from the real world into the virtual world. Disastrous consequences for themselves, their families, and their societies. I mean, it's a humbling book if you read it. Most important, Hate issues a clear call to action. He diagnoses the collective action problems that trap us, then proposes 4 simple rules that might set us free. He describes steps as parents, teachers, schools, and tech companies and governments can take to end the epidemic of mental illness and restore a more humane childhood. So yeah, I read this, and I did raise, and my kids were being raised in the 2010s-ish, and they did, I feel like they had phones too early. And this kind of proved it to me. So
there you go.
The anxious generation.
Well, I'm glad somebody had another nonfiction pick, because we had primarily fiction picks. But
yeah, there's good nonfiction.
My 4th pick is The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters. This was published in 2023, and this pick comes from Janet, who's one of our library assistants in the afternoon. One family's deepest pain, another's darkest secret. Who will they be when the truth comes out? On a hot day in 1960s Maine, 6-year-old Joe watches his little sister Ruthie sitting on her favorite rock at the edge of the blueberry fields while their family pick fruit. That afternoon, Ruthie vanishes without a trace. As the last person to see her, Joe will be forever haunted by grief, guilt, and the agony of imagining how his life could have been. In an affluent suburb nearby, Norma is growing up as the only child of unhappy parents. She is smart, precocious, and bursting with questions she isn't allowed to ask. Questions about her missing baby photos. Questions about her dark skin. Questions about the strange, vivid dreams of campfires and warm embraces that return night after night. Norma senses there are things her parents aren't telling her, but it will take decades to unravel the secrets they have kept buried since she was a little girl. It's a story of unwavering love and the power of family, even in the face of grief and betrayal. I read this. I like this book a lot, too. It's really something. The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters.
That's a good one. So this next one was not a librarian recommendation, but a recommendation from one of you, and I don't remember who. So if it was you, thank you. It's The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny by Kieran Desai. This was published just last year. And it's kind of a heavy book. It's heavy. Behind every love story are myriad stories of 2 families. In the snowy mountains of Vermont, Sonia is lonely. A college student and aspiring writer homesick for India, she turns to an older artist for inspiration and intimacy, a man who will cast a dark spell on the next many years of her life. In Brooklyn, Sunny is lonely too. A struggling journalist originally from Delhi, he is both beguiled and perplexed by his American girlfriend and the country in which he plans to find his future. As Sonia and Sunny become more and more alienated, they begin to question their understanding of happiness, human connection, and where they belong. Back in India, Sonia and Sunny's extended families cannot fathom how anyone would be lonely in this great bustling world. They arrange a meeting between the two, a clumsy meddling that only drives Sonia and Sunny apart before they have a chance to fall in love. The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny is a sweeping tale of 2 young people navigating the many forces that shape their country, class, race, history, and the complicated bonds that link one generation to the next. So, The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny.
I've seen that one starting to come through a little bit in the holds.
Yeah. Word's getting out.
My last pick comes from Tracy again, our adult services librarian. It's T.J. Klune's Under the Whispering Door, which was published in 2021. Welcome to Sharon's Crossing. The tea is hot, the scones are fresh, and the dead are just passing through. When a reaper comes to collect Wallace from his own funeral, Wallace begins to suspect he might be dead. And when Hugo, the owner of a peculiar tea shop, promises to help him cross over, Wallace decides he's definitely dead. But even in death, he's not ready to abandon the life he barely lived. So when Wallace is given 1 week to cross over, he sets about living a lifetime in those 7 days. Hilarious, haunting, and kind, Under the Whispering Door is an uplifting story about a life spent at the office and a death spent building a home. So T.J. Klune's books are great.
Yes,
so
they
I mean,
are.
if you like the
One
wholesome and cerulean and sea and stuff, so I'm sure this was great. I haven't read this one yet, but
all right. Well, if you're looking for something good to read, we have a lot there for you to look at in this week and the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, we hope you've enjoyed some of our staff picks. So thanks for watching our videos. You can find us on the Kimberly Public Library website, YouTube channel, and Facebook page. And Jill and I thank you for watching. So until next time, bye.